So I watched the Salem Lot remake. Now, I was interested in this movie, not overly excited. Overall, I thought this movie was fine. The positives, I think overall it has a good aesthetic for the time period. I think it does a good job of casting kind of a feeling of this being a small town. And I think overall the acting is fine in this movie. And I like the fact it does feel like an old throwback vampire movie, like like a one of those like fun, spooky old throwback vampire movies. Now the negatives with this movie is that the characters aren't very interesting. There's not a whole lot of depth given to the characters, and I know the director said originally this movie was going to be originally this movie was a three hours to cut of the for this movie, and you can tell because this is a movie where even though I would say I like the fact it's fast paced and it moves along, it also is a very big negative with this movie because they don't give you enough time to really explore the town, explore the lore in the town. They don't give enough time to really explore the characters, so they all end up feeling underdeveloped, underwritten. Like the main character, I find him to be the guy who comes into town who's in white. I find his character to be pretty boring. And the love story between him and one other character in the town, like it just feels very unwritten. I never felt invested in the characters. We cared about the love story between the main character and this girl who's in the town too. The villain in the movie, he looks fine. Like it's he's not in the movie too much. The vampire head, the main vampire is taking over, that's trying to take over the town. He's not in the movie too much, but I don't think he was in the original miniseries or mini movie all that much. And like, oh, I'll say another positive is that I do love the fact that the third act is at a drive-in movie theater. I thought that was a cool acid scene when it comes to like the acid happening at that particular setting. But like I said, the characters are like undeveloped, and it's just they don't really spend enough time to really flush out these characters. Like the writer, he talks about his parents dying in a car accident, but they don't go really enough depth. They like bring it up and then kind of like forget about it later on in the movie, and it just feels like the characters don't get fleshed out at all. So they all end up feeling just very forgettable and one note characters that I just didn't care about. And another thing about this movie is that since it's so fast paced, I never feel like the characters reacting to what's going on. It feels as scary. Like the characters don't feel as scared as they should be in this movie with their reactions. There's times where I feel like characters just like their reactions. Like you don't seem to really freak out about vampires in this movie too much, and it feels like it just kind of like skipping beats here where characters just should be more scared than how they are in this movie. So just like this movie to me isn't a very good horror movie. You never really feel scared in this movie. And this movie lacks like any type of tension in this movie for me personally. Like I never felt like there was really any good like tension or build up. And another thing about this movie with the fast pace is that it feels like people jump to vampires pretty quickly. Like people just like automatically jump to this being vampires and figuring out the weaknesses of vampires really quickly. Like there's no build up towards it. They just kind of like jump to conclusion of vampires and right away know how to know all the weaknesses of vampires. So that's another thing about the fast pace of the movie is that you don't flesh out the characters enough, you don't flesh out the town enough, you don't flesh out the history of the town. You don't really feel like you don't get enough build of characters like freaking out and slowly figuring out it's vampires. And it's just the movie just lacks tension and especially when it comes to, like I said, the characters' reactions. They don't react as scared as they should be, and there's just no tension in this movie. But at the end of the day, I had a decent time with this movie. It's not a great movie. It's a movie I'll throw on in the background when I'm doing something, but if you're looking for like a decent vampire movie, check out Sam's Lot. But it's not one that's you're gonna remember afterwards. So that's my thoughts on Sam's Lot. Until next time, movie fans.